how is the way that people are using generative engines, how's that going to change, and what does that mean for new business development, lead generation, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, from my standpoint, I mean, obviously adoption is just going to continue to ramp up. I think more and more people are going to be using it. I think that obviously the algorithms are just going to continue to get smarter. So we again having somebody on your side of the table that is consistently looking at how these tools are changing, how they're ranking, again from bottom of the funnel all the way to the top of the funnel, understanding how that's working is going to be critical. Um, yeah, outside of that, again, I think that a lot of it is going to stay somewhat similar, and SEO isn't going anywhere. That's
Mm-hmm.
always been my stance on it, is that like we're going to continue to push there. And again, Google's not going anywhere. They're still going to have, I assume, the majority from a search standpoint is going to be there, or people are going to be using both as they're doing all of their research. Again, 5 years down the road, maybe that changes and it just continues to get stronger and stronger. But as of next year, I think that it's still going to be pretty similar. We're just going to have to continue to play the game, and people are going to need to, if you're not already working towards a generative engine optimization strategy, getting that in play is going to be important so that you're not years behind compared to some of these firms that have been paying attention now for a handful of years.
Yeah, well said. I'm not sure how the traffic tracking works for Google when ChatGPT or Perplexity does a Google search to influence their results. I don't know if that is just being calculated and tabulated. If ChatGPT is doing several searches to get their answers, if that stuff's all being calculated. But I agree with you. I don't see a world, especially knowing what we know about how these generative engine wrappers work around search. I don't see Google going anywhere. I see them including and making Gemini more of their consistent um, search experience, if you will. But I don't really see much of that changing. I think what I do see changing though is one. I think we're going to see a serious monetization of specifically ChatGPT. We know that they're talking about IPO. It's going to be the largest IPO in history. I think they're saying over $1 trillion. I was actually speaking with a friend of mine who's in finance who is like, I think it's going to be higher than $1 trillion because of the last money raise that they did. And but I think that there's a difference between, and I'm going to say this statement, but I'm going to explain. I think that they're going to need to have some sort of a monetization product, if you will, outside of just subscriptions, in order to yield that kind of return and actually keep it. Um, why am I going to explain this? So when Facebook, now Meta, went public, they IPO'd at like $40, $50 a share. I don't remember exactly what it is. I might be a little off on that. And then it dropped down to like $18 within like a month. And their biggest problem was at the time they didn't have the ads model fully humming and functioning, right? But the second that happened, they exploded. As soon as they were able to prove where the money was going to come from, that they had a really sustainable model that people wanted to spend on, the market grabbed onto that and ran, and they're worth buco buco bucks now. So I think that it is a natural place that ChatGPT is going to add some advertising, just like Google. Again, it's a lot of feeling like a playbook is playing out. Google did it really successfully. They've put a really nice coding around this, and frankly, let's call a spade, a better experience from start to finish. With if you've ever queried ChatGPT, which I'm pretty sure everybody is listening to this has, it's just a better interface and a better experience, and you can play off of your last question to get a better answer. Plus, you have deep research, all of that. But I think that the monetization of it is going to be a core component. So I think that's going to happen next year. Um, the other thing I think is going to happen is that somebody somewhere somehow is going to allow folks to get the data out of some of these systems to understand what people are actually using them for, how they're searching, things of that nature. I think that those are going to be the two big things. And then something that I would have predicted if about a week ago this hadn't been brought up, that, and I said this again, I said this last year, the same exact time. I said specifically healthcare and legal will become two pretty protected professions when it comes to generative engines, because if anything feels like it's giving legal advice, they have a really big risk that the generative engines are going to be facing, OpenAI is going to be facing. And literally 7 days from when we recorded this, we're recording this on the 10th of November. 7 days ago, OpenAI came out and said that they are not going to be providing legal advice or medical advice or any profession that requires a license to give that advice. They will not be providing that. So things like people asking for it to spit out template contracts, asking for it to edit a contract, asking if, for them to review a contract and tell us if this is legal or not legal. Those things are going away, which is going to actually help to start to bring some of the traffic back to some of these sites, some of these law firm websites specifically, because people need to actually go and read for themselves in order to make a determination of what can happen and what can't happen. So that would have been my third prediction, but obviously that has already been made known.